Welcome, everyone, to the Fireside Chat for this year's festival. I am so excited. My name is Cezar Williams. I am the artistic director of the Fire This Time Festival. And today we have with us playwright Garrett Turner. Garrett, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It is wonderful to be here, and I'm excited.
Oh, wow. We are so excited to have you and your play in the festival. Please take a moment just to tell us about your play that is in this year's festival.
Of course, my play that is in this year's The Fire This Time Festival is titled Immanentize the Eschaton.
I
So
love
it's
that title.
yeah, it's a wordy title. We define it in the play, but really it's pretty simple. It's set in the break room of a car part factory in Alabama. And it's just some brothers and sisters on break who are chilling and they get to talking about money, and being rich and what they might do with it. And turns out there's a new employee who has some different ideas about what it means to be rich and how that happens. And so they kind of get into it and a little debate, some argumentation ensues. So yeah, it's a cool short play.
Excellent, excellent. What made you write this play?
A number of things. I wrote this play for one, as a kind of testament to my own radicalization, if you will. I have been undergoing quite the evolution, I would say, over the last 10 years, but also the last 5 years, the last couple of years, just in trying to vision the kind of world that I want to live in and that I want, my son and my family to live in. Um, so that also, I've been a part of a reading group comprised of some theater workers of all different ilks, playwrights and directors and designers and all that, producers, actors, of course. And we have been reading some radical texts together and just discussing them and thinking about how they apply to our industry and what we do. And yeah, and so there was all of that was kind of inside of me and then came out in the form of this play. What message do I want people to walk away with? I love that theater is a collaborative form and can be variously interpreted. So there's not a singular message. I want people to come away with whatever they come away with, whatever they think. But I do hope that people are confronted by some new ideas. You know, I like the idea of how wealth is accumulated in a capitalist system and whether or not that's just, right? I think, man, we spend so much time just trying to make it. Just, a lot of us are paycheck to paycheck. A lot of us freelance artists are constantly like looking after the next gig and just trying to piece things together. And in that hustle of like trying to go after this kind of upward social mobility, we often don't take the time to step back and think about what we're engaged in doing all of that, and the system at large, and whether or not the idea of the American dream is even like a worthwhile pursuit. Like what is it? What are we doing here? And those are some of the questions that the play, the characters in the play discuss. So yeah, I hope people confront some new ideas, and come away grappling with those.
I think your play does that perfectly. I think your
Mm,
play is uniquely timed for this moment that we're in. And
mm.
what's so beautiful is, I mean, I didn't know the election when we selected the play, we didn't know the election was going to go the way it was going to go and all these other things. So these things that you're talking about have been in place before, but I think my hope is that our audiences will be really open to them because there's no denying that the systems are broken.
Mm,
Or even one step further, what I think you state in your play, the systems aren't actually broken. They're working exactly the way they're supposed to work. They're just not working for the vast majority of people. They were
mm.
not designed to do that. So I think your play is going to be that play in this year's festival.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for saying that.
congratulations. What would you like us to know about you as a writer?
Oh, as a writer, I have many varied influences. I'm not only a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I did 7 straight years of higher education at 4 different universities with 3 degrees. And my first degree for undergrad was a double major in music and creative writing. And then I did a master's in theater and performance. And then I did a master's in music theater. And so I think all these different elements that we often find in the theater working together, I have over the years have spent a lot of time studying and practicing from a lot of different angles, and so yeah, I think as a writer, I try and use all those different influences and let them live in an organic way. I hope to. So yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Wonderful. Uh, what is your earliest theater memory?
Wow. See, we're getting deep now talking about memories because I don't have like a lot of great memories from when I was like super young. I've met some people who do. Some people are like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I was 2 and I held this thing." And I'm like, "How?" I don't know. I guess some of us are just built differently that way. I played um Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And
Oh,
yeah, in a school play when I was maybe it was kindergarten, I think. Maybe it was just before that, like preschool, but there's a picture of that. I like sort of recollect being on the stage, but I'm not sure if it's just because I've seen the picture or if I have the actual memory. You know what I mean? But yeah, it goes back. It goes back for sure. My favorite theater memory is a crazy question just because I have so many of them. Even in what I see as my short career thus far, I moved to New York City in 2014 after I finished grad school in London. I came straight here. I'm not from London. I'm from Alabama. Just right, I was born and raised Alabama. I went to undergrad in Atlanta, and then I did 3 years studying abroad before I moved here. And man, in the past 10 years, I've done like so much. It feels like I was one growing up. I didn't um have the idea that I was going to be an actor. There were no examples of working actors around me in my life in Florence, Alabama, my hometown. So I never even thought of it as a possibility. And even when I got to undergrad, I was studying music and creative writing, but I was saying I was going to be a professor, which seemed like a much more stable,
mhm.
occupation. And so it really took until kind of my final year in London that I was like, okay, I'm going to really pursue this. So like I feel like everything that I have done since I've been to the city has been this blessing, has been this icing on top of the cake, has been like, something I never dreamed of, but it's so beautiful. It's like, so when I first moved here, Andre de Shields came to my showcase performance. Um, this is in like September of 2014. And he sat in the front row and he cheered me on after I sang my little song. And then we became friends. And he took me out to a couple of shows and he referred me to his agent. And then he directed me playing Andre for a couple songs in Ain't Misbehaving. This was like for performance for I think New Jersey Theater Alliance was he was being awarded for a production that he had directed, blah blah blah. Point is, I literally just moved to New York and Andre is directing me as Andre. Like it's an insane memory. But of course, my Broadway debut was in 2021, where I was a part of Thoughts of a Colored Man, which I did the world premiere performance of out of town in 2019, and then was one of only 2 cast members to transfer to Broadway. And to tell you, to have that Black Broadway moment, um, was also just wild. And this, I also played Ike Turner in the national tour of Tina, which wow, was really something. So there are so many great theater memories I could go on.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love those. Those are great memories. Are there any productions that you have coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, there are. I am going to be playing Kenneth in a production of Primary Trust at Syracuse Stage at the beginning of 2026. 5. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I played that's actually Syracuse Stage is where we did the world premiere of Thoughts of a Colored Man back in 2019. It was a co-production with Baltimore Center Stage. But so I'm returning. I'm looking forward to returning and seeing some friends, and it's a great theater, and like I'll be performing with some friends too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
If folks wanted to get more information about you, how could they find it?
Yeah, you can find more information about me at my website, which is garrett-turner.com. I'm also on Instagram at Garrett M. Turner. Yeah, and it just, it strikes me that it's perhaps clear through this interview that most of my career has been as an actor. And I will say that writing impulse has been with me throughout the years. I had 2 plays produced in Atlanta my senior year of undergrad, one at Emory and one at Spelman. And so I think this is the first like full production of a play I've had done since then. So I'm super excited to be like leaning back into that space as a writer in a more public way, And so I'm happy for the opportunity and I can't wait.
The characters in your play are more representative of what I think most working class people are, as opposed to what we think of here in New York when we think of people, the way they speak, the way that the things they're concerned about. Just remind me of my uncles and my cousins and all the people I grew up with. So I think you capture their voice. So I think writing for you is almost a natural progression from the wonderful acting career you've had so far.
Thanks. Yeah, I do think, I set the play in Alabama for a reason. Often, folks view from the big city of small town, in the South is that, oh, we're like underexposed to the real
Yes,
world. It's like,
yes,
no,
we're
no, this
stupid.
is this is
Yeah,
the real world. Even people
exactly.
people hear me speak and they're like, oh, well, you don't sound like you're from Alabama. And I just always just go, actually, there are a multiplicity of accents people in Alabama.
In my
Like,
own family, like I don't have my family members sound very different.
yeah,
So
we are, there's a plethora of different kinds of people and viewpoints, even that you could find in somewhere as simple as the break room, in a factory. And I think you do find all of that living in a very full way, in this sort of short 10 pages. Yeah.
but I
Mm.
think there's a diversity in just between Black folks in the way we think. And so I think your play is going to do a lot that, Black people in the South are not country bumpkins. They're not down there because they're stupid or they think racism is okay. All these things that I've
Mhm.
heard people in New York say over the years. And I just love the fact that your play really humanizes all these characters. And I think your play may have the most characters in it of any of the plays that we have in the festival.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and you definitely have the most militant character of any of the plays
Sure.
in the festival.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. But congratulations on writing a wonderful play, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. And everyone, please come check out Garrett's play in season 16 of the Find This Time Festival, opening on January 23rd, 2025. Thank you again. Bye bye.
Thank you.